Hello everyone, this is ASMaRgaritte, and today I will be doing a short back rub on my husband. I will just be using a basic massage oil, but not really doing a massage, just kind of a back rub and a little bit of scratching. He became really ticklish, so I had to stop the scratching. So this is more of just kind of a back rub than it is a massage. So I hope it is relaxing and enjoyable to you. During this video, I'm going to whisper ramble about one of my favorite movies, as I often do. If you listen to my other videos, I've spoken about how I watch a lot of horror movies, but I also really like movies that are true stories about people who are deceptive in some way. And one of the movies I had mentioned previously is about a woman who pretended to be a 9/11 survivor who was in one of the towers above the point of impact, and allegedly had a fiancé die in the other tower, and who worked her way into the survivors network and actually became so famous that she met the governor and the mayor of New York and actually started doing tours for the museum, 9/11 Survivors Museum, and different things. And it turned out she was not in the United States at the time of the attacks, and it's a very fascinating story. But I really like stories like that where people kind of become famous or have this rise, and then they're discovered not to be who they say they are and have a downfall. I don't know why, I'm just kind of attracted. I've always been attracted to those kinds of stories. And I was going through my DVD collection, which I think probably most people don't even have one anymore. Mine's been in a closet for a long time because we just, watch Netflix or Amazon or whatever, or Hulu. But I was going through there and I was like, oh yeah, I have like all the seasons of X-Files, except the ones without David Duchovny, because I don't think those counted. That's one of my favorite shows, and so I binge watched those, even though I could have just watched them on Netflix, because it's kind of fun to watch it on the DVD. And as I was doing that, I was going through my collection and I discovered a movie that I hadn't seen in a long time, which is called Shattered Glass, and it's a movie that came out in 2003 or 2004, and I'd forgotten why I liked it so much. It's just an incredible story, true story, and the acting in it is amazing. I remember I got it not only for the story, but because one of my favorite actors is in it, and that's Steve Zahn. And so I love Steve Zahn, and so I wanted to see him in this story. And he doesn't have a particularly big role, though it was a pivotal role. But I got drawn into the story because it was so fascinating. I ended up really liking the performances, especially Peter Sarsgaard is in it, and he was just tremendous. I mean, it was wonderful. And God, I need to stop using the word wonderful. Trust me, I'm looking for other adjectives. But he was magnificent. But it's a true story about Stephen Glass, who was, I think, 23 years old at the time this scandal broke, which was in like 1998. And he was a reporter and an assistant editor for the New Republic, which was the in-flight magazine of Air Force One. It was a prominent magazine in Washington, D.C., political magazine that had a lot of sway in policy making and other things. And they discovered at some point that most of his articles, if not all of them, had been totally made up. And he had just made everything up because he was a great storyteller. So he just made up these stories and handed in notes after the fact of people he made up and things to the fact checkers. And he kind of got away with this for a while before he was finally caught. And then what happened during his downfall, because he had a lot of loyalty at the magazine, and the editor at the time who's played by Peter Sarsgaard, was not well liked, and they thought he was singling him out. But it's a really interesting story. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And Hank Azaria is in it. He plays Michael Kelly, who is the first editor that Stephen Glass is under, and he does a piece where it's questioned by some other people whether or not it's, some facts in there are true. And so Michael Kelly kind of brings him in and asks him, are you sure about this? Is this piece true? And he kind of double checks a couple things, and they kind of check out, so he doesn't say anything. And eventually Michael Kelly is fired from the magazine, and then another editor comes into play named Chuck Lane. And during this time, there's a piece that Stephen Glass publishes, which is called Hack Heaven, about a teenage hacker, 15-year-old kid who allegedly hacked into a major software company and their website and posted pornographic pictures as well as the salaries of all the executives. And the company, instead of pursuing legal action, decided to hire him. And this kid evidently had an agent, and they worked out a deal where he had like a multi-million-dollar contract of some sort, and a subscription to Playboy, I believe it was, that he got in return for working security, and showing this company what the vulnerabilities were in their software. And what happens is that Forbes Digital, which was an online magazine, kind of breaking through the time where there weren't a lot of online magazines at the time, Adam Pennenberg, who's played by Steve Zahn, he is tasked to find out why they didn't hear about this first, because that was kind of his area of expertise. And so when he starts going through to write a companion piece to it, he discovers that none of the sources check out. They can't find any record of the kid. None of the people mentioned in the article exist, and they can't get a hold of the software company, nor is there any record of the software company in California where it's supposed to be. And so they don't let on for a while. I think this happens over a period of just a few days, but they don't let on at first what they suspect that is totally made up. They call him up and ask him, can you give us numbers for your sources, because we're having a hard time trying to find them. And he just kind of blows them off. So then they go to Chuck Lane, his editor, and they're like, we can't find these sources. Do you think you can help us out? So they end up doing a conference call together, and he's really just kind of busted, because he can't verify anything. And he said he's only spoken to all these people through emails, and he's never spoken to them in person. And some of them he had, and some of them he hadn't. And when he gives them a number for the actual software company, it turns out to be a cell phone number. It actually turns out to be his brother posing as the software company CEO, as they find out later. And then his downfall begins. And my favorite scene is when, Chuck Lane is still kind of wanting to believe him, and says to him, look, get your notes and walk me through the whole story where all of this happened. And if you can do that, then I can hold off Forbes Digital for a little bit, and see, because they want to take you down. And so he takes him to Washington, it was in Maryland, and he just randomly goes into these buildings, like, this is where we had lunch or dinner. And he's like, are you sure about that? Because it says that this place closes at 3, so there's no way you could have had dinner here. And he's like, man, this is where we had the conference. And they're like, and the people in the building say there's no way for that to have happened, because our building's closed on Sundays when you say the conference was. And it all just, totally falls apart, and they discover, like, all of his stories are not true. And it's just fascinating that nobody thought to really delve into these things. And it took many stories before somebody finally, caught him at what he did. And it was another magazine that got him. Just very interesting. So that's a good movie. I highly recommend it if you'd like to see it. Well, this is the end of this short video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope